Chase Lehaki with the Blue Futon. And in the Amazon Prime world, we have Rocketry, the Nambi effect. This is a rocket scientist in India. What did he do wrong? Did he do anything wrong? What happened between the 80s, 60s, 70s, and 90s? And today? Let's find out. Rocketry, the Nambi effect. What's about? It's a very simple premise. We follow Mr. Nambi across his life of him starting in India, then going to Princeton, and going back to India, then going to France, and then going back to India, then going to Russia. All this time to try to build a rocket for India. But in the meantime, stuff happens with him, his family, treachery, patriotism, as well as espionage. Will he make it out alive? Let's find out. So this is a true story of Mr. Nambi. While I think the movie is extremely well done with some good aspects to it, there's also some huge flaws in the movie where you're like, of why did the director make those decisions? One of the main problems with this movie is the editing. And what do I mean by that? Throughout the first half or first 2 hours of the movie, have you ever watched the TV show NCIS, and before each commercial break, it shows you like a little snippet of what's going to happen in the future? Well, this kind of does it with stuff in the future and the past. So these weird editing like marks where it's like literally fast-paced, like newspaper clippings or fast-paced person crying. You're like, what does this do to actually enhance the story? Unfortunately, it doesn't do a lot to enhance the story. More confuses the viewers of why are we showing these weird NCIS flashbacks or flash forwards. I don't know what it actually shows. Also, some of the acting in this movie. I'll say the acting really went downhill in one part of the movie in general, and that is the torture scene. Something about the torture scene and how he decided to film it, as well as the acting, felt really off for some reason. You're just like, why does this feel like it's a completely different movie? I understand it feels like a completely different movie. It's how the aspect ratio is, but the acting, something happened in that scene where I was just like, something is really weird and off with how they're filming this, as well as the actors. And finally, even though I did some research about the story to see what is dramatized and what isn't, just like Hollywood based on true story events, there is stuff that is, forcefully true in this movie, as well as any other story that's based on a true story. And unfortunately, it does that here too, to make it more Hollywoodized, or I hate to say the word Bollywoodized because I don't know what region this is in. So it might not even be a Bollywood movie, which I put $100 down. It isn't. So I just did a huge foul slap in the face. And also a personal thing about this story. I really wish we know what happened in the 50 days of him being a traitor to India. I want to know who did it. Unfortunately, we don't realize who did it. Even the true story, I was like doing research. I was like, there's got to be a reason. Was it Pakistan? Was it USA? Was it Russia? Was it just random Indian people he didn't like? Unfortunately, you do not get a conclusion on that aspect. And I'll give one final nitpick, and this is a personal thing. I do think they give too much of a good light on this person. And what do I mean by that? And like I said, this could be a personal thing, so don't slap me. I'll slap myself right now just in case I am wrong. And that is what he does to one of his co-workers and a child. That's all I'm going to say if you haven't watched this movie. But his decision is some of the narcissistic, some of the most messed up things you could actually do to a parent and a family for your own personal gain. That is absolutely miserable. Yes, they kind of give him a good arc at the end, but my goodness, it's like, if that happened, I would expect more people to kind of back off and be like, yo, what were you thinking? That makes no sense. You literally bought toys. You bought gifts. Like I said, that could be part of the Hollywood eyes or India eyes, dramatization of what really happened. So that is that. But overall, I do think it is a well-acted movie as a whole. It does really good with the cinematography, as well as the placements of being in India, being in the USA, even though I really don't think they're in the USA, but I could be completely wrong, and being in France and being in Russia. And I did research. I was like, okay, what actually happened between India and Russia at that time? And they do have a decent relationship, even with happening today with U.S. Ukraine and Russia, and them still buying oil and stuff like that. So weird territory, but with even the United States, with President Trump, President Obama, and President Biden, Saudi Arabia ties are getting cut. India ties are getting cut. There's a lot of countries that are kind of backing off of like, what the shit, Brazil and everything like that. So it happens with each president of each country. South Korea is the same way. And like Portugal, the Portugal president hasn't visited the White House in such a long time. And actually, President Trump was the first one to actually invite him to the White House. It was like 20 or 15 years or something ridiculous with Portugal, which Portugal is like the number one or the first European country to actually recognize the United States as its own country. Fun facts in today's day and age, but we're not talking about Portugal, even though I live there. We are talking about India and this movie. Like I said, it's smart. I enjoyed the cinematography, like I was saying, about all the different environments we were going to, and it was very believable of where he was filming these movies. Could it have been in Russia? I really doubt it. It was probably on some border countries, but I enjoyed going around the world with this movie. I do feel like some characters, though, when going around the world, are a little bit too one-dimensional, especially the Russian USA. I didn't know where that plot was going, as well as some other characters, like the French character. Like, I don't know where they actually met and what they actually did. Like I said, it could be fake. It just could be part of the movie. But this 2.5-hour movie went by pretty quick with what I was expecting about history, knowing what happened, and having the India to be the first country ever on its first attempt to an orbit around Mars. And other countries took multiple attempts. But as a movie, I think Rocketeer is a good historical drama that a newbie like me that has no knowledge or historical information about what happened in India, it made me want to do research. I did do research, and I overall think it was good for the brain. And I think a movie like this, that is the option. Overall, another red flag. At the very end, it turned a little bit too dramedy for me with him in the TV station, and everyone started crying. I'm like, feels a little fake. But let's give you my score. Rocketry, the Nambi effect, will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futons, which equals that 70%. So see the critics' new scores gave this one. Critics, 64% with 14 of them. Actually lower than I thought. Audience score of 100%. With fewer than 50. No critic consensus. We have people from India, a 2.5 out of 5, with 50%. Then we have a 2 out of 5. Another one from India. Holy cow. Times of India, 3.5 out of 5. An American, Austin Burke, which I give money to, 7 out of 10. The rest are UAE, 3.5 out of 5. In Times of India, 3.5 out of 5. So yeah, 3 out of 5. So we're kind of in that 70 to 60 range overall with this movie. So like I said, 64, 70, 100. Chase out with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of Buftopia, you Blue Futonians. Thanks for watching and have a great day. And yeah, did I ever want to be an astronaut? I mean, what kid didn't want to like look at the stars and be like, damn, what is it like up there? Shit, the best nightlight I've seen was in Portugal when I was in the Azores. I would stare up at that night and see thousands of stars. I mean, bonkers. Even me in Florida right now, I do see some decent stars at night. The worst, though, was California. It just, nothing's good in California. California. Mm-mm.